What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, bright and early on a Saturday morning, and it's super early. The sun's not even out, 7:04 a.m. to be exact. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us as we get things rocking and rolling this morning. Of course, as we move forward, it's so many things to talk about here in the news this morning. Got a lot of things to talk about. It's basketball happening on the Bluff this weekend over at Southern University, Grambling and Southern. Today it is Alumni. Got some friends in the studio. Y'all, come on. Yeah, come on. This live radio. We gonna make it happen. Here we go. Good morning to everybody out there. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us and like us on our Facebook page. Good to have you guys with us this morning. We got guests here in the studio this morning. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? I'm gonna get y'all to get a little closer to the mic so the people can hear you. There we go. All right, tell the people who we got in the studio. Let's start with yourself.
Lamont Cole, East Baton Rouge Parish School Superintendent.
Cassie Cole, Southern University Hall of Famer.
I like Hall of Fame. And now look, now she flexing on us this morning. Cassie, what's going on?
Everything is everything. Everything is good.
You talking about being a Southern University Hall of Famer. You did track and field at Southern. Talk about that experience and how you became a Hall of Famer.
Well, let me start how Coach Johnny T recruited me from Southern Lab. I was first of all, let me back up a little more.
Okay, let's back it on up.
So University Laboratory School, we were undefeated in track and field for 4 years. No one in the
from
state.
The lab.
From the lab.
The lab, okay.
The lab.
When I go over there, I see how passionate they are about being the lab school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We take pride. So all throughout my 4 years, nobody in the state of Louisiana can beat us. No one. So I believe Johnny T got a little taste of what the lab girls can do.
Uh-huh.
So he came over and recruited a couple of the girls. And 1996, I signed my scholarship to be a Southern University Jaguar.
Uh-huh.
Now, going into my experience at the university, Coach Thomas turned me into a hurdler. I didn't come as a hurdler. I came as a heptathlete. In a heptathlete, we do multiple events.
Uh-huh.
So I got to Southern University, and Coach Thomas said, "Girl, I'm gonna make you out of a hurler." So I got there, he made me out of a hurler. My first year, we were up and down. I didn't know if I would like being a hurler. But going into my sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, we had a hurdle relay team. And nobody in the SWAC could beat us. Not no one. No one beat us in the hurdle relay. So we became against what we won SWAC my first year. We won SWAC my second year, third year, and fourth year. So we won SWAC 4 times.
Okay.
And I have rings to show it. So throughout my years, it's just something I enjoy doing. I ran track all my life. So being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I just kind of was like, oh, okay. It was just an award. But looking into it, it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. And being selected was a great honor. It was a great honor after I sat back and realized all the years I put into track and field and wanted to be recognized. And my kids are able to see that mommy was inducted into the Hall of Fame for track and field, and I didn't have to pay anything for college. Running paid my way through college. So my parents didn't have to come out the pocket for anything. I just ran my way through college. Ran my way through college. So being a Hall of Famer is an honor.
And you're talking about being able to use a God gift, right?
Yes.
Being blessed with a gift to be able to take you places, to do things, to accomplish things, and then to be able to put Hall of Famer behind your name. But you were the athlete. Talk about the student side of how that all came together, because you also, had to get a degree to being a part of that process.
Yes. So I am an educator now in East Baton Rouge Parish at the Community School for Apprenticeship Learning. I am a dean of students. So
I don't play with you.
Oh, no. Oh, no, sir.
You don't want to have to go see Mrs. Cole.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. So I received my degree at Southern University in education. In the education department at Southern University prepared me to become an educator. And of course, when playing sports, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, I'm going to go to the Olympics or I'm going to play in the NBA. But you have to have that education behind in case that doesn't work out. So I was able to get a degree in education, pursue my education degree, and also become a coach in the community. I coached track and field at Skylandville High School. I coached at Madison Preparatory High School, and I was a coach at CCL. Currently, I'm not coaching because I am focusing on other things, but coaching is also a passion of mine. So along with me being an educator and combining coaching, it's just everything just falls into place. Did you see yourself
maybe one day falling into the world of education? Like, when you're young, everybody has this dream, a goal of maybe what I want to be. Maybe want to be an astronaut when I was a kid, but, things change. But, for me, it was marine biology, but then pivot, boom, here I am doing, media and just in that realm. For you, what was it before that you kind of saw yourself doing that ultimately?
Oh, no, I always wanted to be an educator. Always, from day one, I've always wanted to be in education.
Did you come from a home of educators?
I did not.
Okay.
But being a student at Southern Lab and watching Miss Tyson, she's passed on now, watching her as a student, she kind of was an influence on me. Since day one, I've always wanted to be a PE teacher, which I was a PE teacher.
What about PE? What we talk? What was it about PE?
Hey, when you just have that being an athlete and having it going through your head 24/7, you want to give back.
Yeah,
you want to give back. So I've always wanted to be an educator. Always started in PE, moved my way up to social studies, and now I'm dean. So
when a student walks into Mrs. Cole's office and there seems to be an issue, how does Mrs. Cole handle that issue? And I know it's various ways, but particularly for you.
Oh, well, first I have a relationship with my kids. When you build a relationship with your kids, you don't have that many problems because they know if you go to the office, Ms. Cole's not going to cut any corners. So when I do have a student come in, I first talk with them. We find out what's the problem. Okay, let's solve the problem. Once we solve the problem, we make sure we're not going to revisit the problem. Once we come to that conclusion, we go back to class. Go back to class, do your work, because that's what we're here for. My policy, I want the kids at school. If we have them at home, what are they gonna do at home? We need our babies in school.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to work out the problem in office, handle the problem in office, and once we both are on the same page, we won't have any more problems.
Let me ask you this: as an influencer, especially you going into the world of education, getting your degree from Southern University, who was the influence in terms of an educator on that campus at Southern for you that motivated, that pushed you?
Oh, it was so many. In the Department of Education, it was Dr. Help me out, Mr. Cole. He's your mentor, too. He's passed on. He was in education.
Roy Jacobs.
Dr. Jacobs. Dr. Jacobs was a great mentor for me in education. He helped me understand the meaning of an educator.
Mm-hmm.
He broke it down to where, okay, there's nothing else I want to do. He guided me, told me every up and down that I would face in education, and he just was that great mentor. And he made sure, okay, Cassie, this is what you want to do. This is what's going to happen some days. Some days it's going to be good. Some days it's going to be bad. But Dr. Jacobs, he was a great role model for me going through my degree at Southern University. He guided me all the way through till I walked across that stage.
Got to be the best feeling once you get a chance to get across that stage, and especially with all the accolades that came with you. Because I hear you bragging at that time. They said the SWAC stood for Southern Wins Another Championship. So I'm pretty sure you was rocking that. You everywhere you was going at the meets, you was talking about that.
Well, the track team, we were a family. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, or instead of going to the track meet and saying I did this, it's always we.
Yeah.
We did this because we were a family. We were a true family. Coach Thomas made sure that we had each other back. Everyone. If it was from the long jump to the disc to the shot put, everyone had each other back. The field events would be before the running events. So the runners would go watch the field events. Once the field events were done, those athletes would go on the bleachers and cheer for the runners. So we were a big family. We supported each other. So we all came into the track meets as, oh, here go those Jaguars. Here they come. Here they come. And they knew once we hit that track, we were about business.
And that's what creates the lifelong memories of being able to go places like that. And as you said, with family,
yes.
The love, the support, and everything. And then not only that, winning. Put that all together, you'll never forget those type of memories. Those are the things I think for a lot of people who are Southern alums, whether they were student athletes or just students, being able to meet people from all across the country and coming together, who could be a roommate, who could be just simply be a person you walk to the calf with.
That's
right. A classmate, you know something about that calf, man?
Oh, that calf. No,
hey, it's hurt when they say they went to the calf without you.
Oh.
What you mean you already been to the calf?
That's a hurt feeling right there. That's a hurt feeling right there, yes. And I'm glad you said student athlete because Coach Thomas made sure if your grades were not right, you would not step foot on that track. So it was work first and then track. And
that's how I teach my son and my daughter, work before play.
That's right.
To handle your business and do it right the first time. Get it. Just pay attention, focus, do it right the first time, handle your business, then you got all day to do all that other stuff.
That's right.
But if you don't, you got to come back and do it the second, or third, or fourth time. Now you're wasting all the time in the world that you could have had to do everything else you wanted to do.
That's right.
So let's get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, I got to chop it up with my man, Lamont Cole. He's in the store. He's just like, hey, y'all done put me to the side, but it's all good. Everybody, good morning that's listening on 107.3 FM out there. Glad to have you in the Baton Rouge capital city area. Everybody watching on our YouTube Live, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and watching on our Facebook Live, be sure to hit that follow and like button. Good morning to everybody. We're about to take a break. We'll come back. Stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking at the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8, the deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there in the capital city area. 7:20 a.m. Of course, I am Perry White. It is the Jaguar Journal. Glad to have you guys with us who all listen on 107.3 FM on the radio. Turn it up a little bit louder. Got some good guests here in the studio. Good morning to everybody watching across the country on our YouTube channel. Glad to have you guys with us. Hit that subscribe button if you not have done so already. It is free. It costs you nothing. Just love and support. And that's all we ask. Don't need your birth certificate. We don't need your social security number. We don't need none of that. Just your support. Clicking on that button, get a notification every time we go live. And for everybody watching on our Facebook Live, good morning to you across the various groups on Facebook and the various pages. Glad to have you guys with us as well. Hit that like and follow button. Good guest here in the studio this morning. Lamont and Cassie Cole here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You ready?
Always.
Okay. Well,
You ain't got to wonder about me.
Let's
Always.
He say don't worry about him. Don't wonder about him. My man Lamont Cole here in the studio. He is the superintendent of the East Baton Rouge school system. And picking this up, right, you have been heavily involved in the Baton Rouge community for a very long time. I saw you got your education started in terms of the teaching side and working with students in 1988 in Brooklyn, New York.
That's right.
Talk about being getting that started up in New York and, working your way and coming back.
Listen, I come from a family of educators, both on the fraternal and maternal side. Both my grandmothers worked in education for a long time. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, actually, and I lived there until I was 7. And then we moved to Baton Rouge in 1980. And then I went back and forth to New York during the summer. My dad was in New York. My mother was here. When I was 14 years old, working in New York City in the summer youth program, I worked at the daycare center with my grandmother. I observed, she ran the daycare center, but I was a classroom teacher's aide. And so I worked with small kids. At 14 years old, I was working with the 4 and 5-year-olds. And we were working to ensure they were getting a good education, a good experience in the summer. learned how to be a supervisor, learned how to monitor. We took the kids on a lot of field trips during the summer all over New York City, to the museums, to the zoo, to the restaurants. And so I learned how to be responsible as it relates to supervising young people. So when I finished high school and went to college, I did a whole lot of stuff. And unlike my wife, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Although I had had some experiences in the field of education, I didn't know which direction I wanted to go in. And like a lot of people, I changed my major about 12 times. Didn't know.
Hey, I know that story. I've been there.
Yeah.
Major and schools.
Didn't know what path I was going to take. And when I graduated from college, undergrad at LSU, I actually had plans to follow in my mother's footsteps and be a social worker.
Okay.
My mother is a social worker and a mental health therapist, and I was working at Federal Express in the afternoon from 4 to 9. And during the daytime, I would just be sitting around doing absolutely nothing. Go to work at 4, get off at 9, stay up all night messing around, and then sleep all day. And one day my mother said to me, you need to figure out something to do during the daytime. Don't waste your life. Maybe you should go sub. And so I had a good friend of mine, still great friends today, who I graduated with. His name is Darcy Franklin. He was substitute teaching. I told him I was interested because my mother said the same thing to both of us. We were doing the same thing. He started about 2.5 months before me. He told the director of supervision, Pam Mackey, that I might be interested. She reached out to me. I started my career in education professionally in 1998. So 10 years later from starting as a teacher's aide to 10 years from 88 to 98, I started as a classroom teacher, teaching social studies at a Struma Middle Magnet. Young lady at the time by the name of Katie Blunchy gave me my first opportunity. And so when I started teaching, the first reality hit me was that the money was good. I got my first check. It was $883.27. And I felt like, every day was Christmas and every night was New Year's Eve. I was going to go to the mall and buy myself something. And so I said, decent money, good hours, get an opportunity to be around kids. I was very young at the time. I was 23 years old, able to still run and play with the kids at PE. It was just a good time in my life. I felt good about things. So I decided to pursue the career. And if I was going to do that work, I wanted to go back to the school where I was educated. So I walked in Capitol Middle one day because I went to school at Capitol Junior High School. Those out there in the listening audience know the difference between Capitol Junior High and then it transitioned to Capitol Middle. If you could walk home down Gus Young when you went to Capitol Junior High, you were considered to be respected in the school. And so I didn't walk home in 6th grade. Couldn't walk home in 6th grade. I'm not going to tell no tales. We couldn't walk home in 6th grade. By the time I got to 8th grade, I could walk home. So I had established myself in the community with my peer group in the 8th grade. I know that sounds interesting to say, but that's just how intense school was. So I went back into the school, met the principal at the time, Jane Gillette, told her my story, and she said, I'm going to give you a chance. So Marie Katie Blunchy, and then Jane Gillette started teaching, started coaching basketball. And at the time, I realized if I'm going to be in this profession, I want to go all the way to the top. That was my plan way back in 1998. But ultimately, my ultimate goal, Brother Perry, was to be the principal at Capitol Middle. That is what I wanted to do. I had planned my life in 1998. I said I was going to coach, I was going to teach, and then I was going to do that for about 25 years. And then towards the tail end of my career, I would become a principal and then come back to Capitol Middle and be the principal. Well, I was able to accomplish that instead of 25 years. I was able to accomplish that in 8. So I taught 5 years at Capitol Middle, was an assistant principal at Seaside Middle, as well as McKinley Middle Magnet School, and then Westdale Middle. And then 3 years later, I was the principal at Capitol Middle. So things happened real quick for me in terms of leadership. Was able to be real successful at Capitol Middle with the leadership team we put together there. We did a lot of great things for the school. We did a lot of great things for the students in the community. So I was really excited about that work. But after 2 years, I was doing so well in leadership. I was engaged in the community. At the time, I was the president of the local chapter of the NAACP. And so in addition to working in the school, I was in the community doing a lot of things, voter registration, voter impact. We had community town halls about various things that were happening in the community. Anytime we saw that there was injustice, we challenged the injustice. We marched, we protested. We did everything we could to help better the community, and that was my volunteer time as president of the NAACP. And then during my daily walk, I was an educator in schools working with students. And so being very active in the community, things started to take off and people started to reach out to me about other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So I took an opportunity to go work with another organization. After only being a principal for 2 years, I transitioned to being a chief academic officer for an organization called Advanced Baton Rouge at the time. And so I did that for a while and realized I missed being with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was really about the bureaucracy of education, the bureaucracy of dealing with the State Department of Education at the time, working in schools, helping to supervise principals. And while the prestige of the position at the time was a lot of fun for me mentally, I missed being around students. I missed being in schools, helping teachers, motivating, encouraging, inspiring, and working with parents. I missed it all. So actually, I went from being a principal to a chief academic officer back to being an assistant principal. I took a pay cut and went back to being an assistant principal, but I only was able to do that for 6 weeks. 6 weeks later, I was promoted to principal again at Park Forest Middle School this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided at that time I was going to stick around for a while. I was going to be principal there. You know, believe it or not, for a short period of time, the principal at Capitol Middle transitioned away, and I was principal at Park Forest Middle, and they asked me to be principal at both schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the principal at Capitol Middle and Park Forest Middle for about 6 months. I started my day in the morning time at one school and went to the other school in the afternoon. And I know, you know, some people have done that in this city, but for me to be able to do it at Park Forest and at Capitol was a phenomenal experience. Then a good friend of mine who was the CEO at the Community School for Apprenticeship Learning Incorporated, known in the city as CSAL Inc., reached out to me and said, listen, I'm opening these schools and I need your help. And I said, all right, man, you know, I'll consider it. Let me think about it. And then he called me again and he said, listen, man, I need you to come help me. I said, nah, I'm going to stay where I'm at Park Forest Middle because I didn't want to leave the kids. And then he reached back to me. Then one night I was at home minding my business and someone knocked on the door, and I went to the door, and it was him standing outside. And he said, listen, man, I need my friend to come have my back. And when he asked me that way, I said, you got it. So, you know, a lot of great things, and I can tell you the next part of the story because, you know, I can go all day now.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We got to take breaks. We got to pay some bills. Hey, very special guest here in the studio, Cassie and Lamont Cole in here talking to me about life, about experiences here in Baton Rouge, and that's what it's all about, especially as we talk about dealing with the youth and young people in our community, and we're going to talk a lot more about that. Let's get ready to take a break. Good morning to everybody out there listening on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area, everybody watching across our YouTube and Facebook across the country. Good to have you guys with us. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. Stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well. Over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. Very special guest here in the studio this morning, Mrs. and Mr. Cole.
Right here.
That's all I can do now. I just got to do we got the Coles in the house.
Right
okay?
here, right now. Right here, right now.
Lamont Cole, the superintendent of the East Baton Rouge school system.
Yes,
Cassie, you are the dean of students at the
Community C-Cell Middle.
C-Cell Middle. Okay,
Yes.
we're
going to say it short.
I'm going to put that in my mind. I'm going to
Yes.
say it 3 times, and I'm going to have it. Listen, I want to have a conversation with you guys because you were explaining your background and how you got here. And listen, school will be out on Tuesday because of weather, right?
That's right.
Now, you from New York. You going to pull out your Timbs on Tuesday?
I got them on right now.
You got your Timbs. Okay, that's why I just want to know
That's
about
right.
your Timbs.
That's
You got
right.
your Timbs. You're going to have the hat.
That's right.
You know,
That's
all
right.
You going to finally get you some cold weather on Tuesday.
A little bit.
Little bit.
Yeah,
That's
not-
what we can. It's
have
not
a little winter
normal
weather.
here.
Little winter weather. We go a little crazy when it gets cold, it's particularly if there's going to be snow, which I hope there is snow because for so many students in our school system, they've never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll have an opportunity to see it. One of the conversations we had yesterday when we were making the decision to close school on Tuesday was whether or not to have the students go virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said to staff, listen, I'd rather make up a day in the afternoon based on the number of minutes we're supposed to be in school than have the kids be virtual if it's snow outside. For many of our students, they were not alive the last time it snowed in Baton Rouge. And so many of them have never had the opportunity to make a snowman, play in the snow, be outside, feel the frost of playing with snow too long and your hands start hurting.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are experiences I believe young people should have, particularly in an area like this. So we closed school without asking families to go virtual and take devices home. We want them to have fun, cherish the opportunity, and be in the moment, right? Mm-hmm. Be in the moment should it snow in Baton Rouge on Tuesday. And listen, I hope it does snow.
Yeah.
So, the last time it snowed in Baton Rouge, my son wasn't born, so he's never seen snow. And so just to have that opportunity.
He's looking like.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And he has no clue. My daughter was here, but my son wasn't. And so we looking forward to it.
Let me ask you this, as we talk about that and very thoughtful to understand that it's more to it than just saying closing school and just we're going to go virtual. You actually thought about the experience that goes along with it. I think that's why you're the right man for the job because when you look at overall thing, it's more than just business all day, every day. You're looking at what can these young people gain from an experience, even something as simple as snow because of the memories. Let me ask you this, because this is one of the conversations that I've had with educators, both on the collegiate side and further down. It is a new generation of students that's out there. And being a father myself, I have a 16-year-old daughter and I have an 8-year-old son. What I'm realizing with them, growing up, for me, everything was oral, told to you. Do it because I said so. And you did it. Kids today, to me, seem to not necessarily go by words, but they're so visual because everything is what they're doing now. It's visual. It's whether, like you said, even going to school virtually. You know, everything that they see. So it's almost show me better than you can tell me, because it seemed to me this new generation, they take words lightly. You got to show them in action. You have to present it to them for them to see it, to believe it, because the words, it's just, I hear you, but I want to see it. So for you guys as educators, and I'll start with you, Cassie, because on the other side, you are a dean. So sometimes you're dealing with the discipline side of things in terms of what's happening. For you, when you're looking at young people today, what do you see one of the biggest changes and how they are evolving, and how maybe sometimes educators and parents and the community may not have since figured out how to keep up with them?
Oh, well, you hit it right on the head with the visual. Social media it's taking over our kids' minds as far as
it's like a drug.
It's a drug.
Yeah, and they can't live. They just got to pick the phone up.
Yes.
And just got to
Yes, and so now with the new law, we have the new law, no phones in schools. So at first, when school started, I was like, oh, my God, how are we going to handle this? Because the kids, it's like they cannot move without having the phone in their hands. But so far at my school, I can say for my babies, they've been okay. They've been okay because we've been doing more activities with them. And as far as we have what we call Celebration Friday. We do what I did for Thanksgiving. We did a Spirit Week. So I had turkeys around the school, and they had to do like a scavenger hunt. And it's things that you do with them to kind of get their mind off of this social media thing. Showing them different ways they can do things without referring back to social media. These songs, these rap songs, if you could memorize all the words of a rap song, you can go in the classroom and learn the same thing. It's just, I have a math teacher at my school. She made a TikTok song that they know on TikTok and related it to math. And those kids were spitting out those numbers, didn't even realize they were saying them because she put it in a TikTok song. So they were able to relate the TikTok song to math. So I think just maybe combining or getting down to, okay, this is how they understand, so let's try it this way.
And
let's try it.
And we can't, I think, as we evolve, because look, I know as I was coming up, I had the older generation looking at me like, hey, y'all just don't understand, man, during my time and my day. And you have to evolve to understand that the world is different for these young people.
It's very different.
For me, I grew up through tape, CD, going to MP3 player, going, floppy disk to thumb drive.
Put the paper inside the tape so you can record off the radio. Y'all remember putting that in the disc?
Record and play on, and I used to listen to the Quiet Storm. That's it. All right. What you looking like that for? You know about the Quiet Storm?
Night Prince. Absolutely.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
And then, but at the same time, I grew up in the time if I needed information, I had to go through the library. I had to go through and look at the categories of book. There was a way of doing things in which now you just pick this up and everything is here.
Everything.
There's the process, the systems, and they always used to say trust the process as it relates to doing things. Everything seems like a shortcut now because you're able to just quickly find it, quickly look it up, and in the process, it makes you feel like you know it, but you just looked it up. You may not have retained it, you just said it in that moment. And for you, I'm gonna ask you, because now, looking at the whole school system, your vision in terms of having to evolve with this new age of learning from young people.
I see that a little bit differently in terms of how we deal with our children. There are so many things in our world that have changed, but the human being is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most human beings still have, 10 fingers and 10 toes, and our bodies still operate the same. So our mental capacity, we still need to be loved. We still need to be fed. We still need to be made to feel appreciated. And so for me, my approach, while these things are happening, is to not try to be different in terms of how we treat kids, but change our responses to them based on what we know they're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we, in our engagement with young people, give them a positive experience? Here's a tip. Oftentimes, we as parents ask our kids, how was your day?
Mm-hmm.
And our kids might say good, might say fine, and then we transition to the next question, which is, what did you do today? What did you learn today? Well, change the response. Most times my kids don't even realize when I ask them that question and they say it was good, I respond with the last three things they said. So if they say it was good, I respond, it was good, and then I make them respond differently. So at this point, I'm engaging with them a little bit differently to foster a conversation to give my children a different experience. I use the same thing with students.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to them, engage, try to have an experience, try to have a connection with them. And oftentimes, as we do those things and we show interest, you recognize they're not even paying attention to the devices. They're not even thinking about that. They're trying to engage in a conversation with you. Some of the strategies and techniques I use as a principal to motivate and encourage kids, I use them as the superintendent. Yesterday, I was at an elementary school and I went into class and had a conversation with some kids about Martin Luther King. It's his holiday. We're celebrating him Monday. And so at the end of the conversation, I wrote an email to the whole entire school system and told them, it was Celebration Friday. I'm going to go back to the school, have a pizza party with those students, and give them a different experience. Mm-hmm. I don't know how often students in our school system actually get an opportunity to have lunch with the superintendent. So I'm going to go back to the school. I'm going to buy pizzas out of my own pocket, let me be clear, and sit down, have that, and give children a different experience. So when they see me in the community or on television, they can say, I know that man. I talked to him. He came. He sat on the floor with us. He ate with us. So I think if we change our responses in terms of what we know kids are exposed to, right, we can get the response we're looking for. Because I'm old school. So when I tell my kids, because
when
I
you
said
say
so,
you old school, what does that mean?
Well, when I tell my kids I said so,
that's because of what?
Because I said so.
All right, then. That's what I like.
I still ask my kids to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, yes, sir, and no, sir to us.
You got
to any adult.
You have a certain look.
They know. They know. They got it in here a couple of times, so they know. But they're good kids, outstanding young people.
Yep.
But I think you have to change the responses. There's some old school to it. There's some new school, and then you recreate a different experience, and then they are motivated, encouraged, and inspired to do great.
Because I always say, you never know a background. You never know what a kid is dealing with at home, and a lot of kids have untapped potential. All the potential in the world, but unfortunately at home, it's a lot of things pulling them back. It's a lot of things distracting them. It's a lot of things in community sometimes that keeps them from being able to tap fully into their potential. And one of the things I dealt with that I saw, because I went to school in Arkansas, and the high school I went to had a little over 2,000 students, right? And it was a pretty big school, but it was, I guess we could say, of course, hood, right?
Absolutely. Underserved.
You understand what I'm saying? Urban, I guess, if you want to say.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there were students who came from good households, two-parent household, middle class. Unfortunately, and I have this conversation all the time because I grew up in the hood. I had a one-parent household. The community and environment around me was not conducive of success, but in our home, it was. It was when I got home, outside of those doors, when I stepped inside of those doors, it was about education. It was about your future. It was about morals and values. It's about how you carry yourself. Who are you? It was about character. Now, when I stepped outside, of course, and that's where the conversation is leading, acceptance. And as young people, especially in this world of social media, acceptance is big. And even then, when it wasn't social media, it goes back to the kids who actually came from good houses, who parents could give them the world. But when they got to school, the vast majority of kids may not have or did not come from that background. So to want to be accepted and so-called didn't want to be the lame, didn't want to be the good kid, they transition from accepting that you have resources. Tap into those resources. You come from a good background, that is okay, to where they transition to want to be something else other than what they were. And I saw a lot of people who I went to school with went down the wrong path because of that, of wanting to be accepted by the wrong group. And I always told people, hey, listen, the people who you think you want to be accepted by, they will switch and change positions with you in a heartbeat to have your resources. Because growing up, I thought if you had a brick house, you were rich. Especially if you had 2 cars, like, man, y'all got it going on over here. But, you know, that was one of the things. Do you see that where you have kids who, because you have a culture that we see, unfortunately, especially, and I'm going to say with black culture because of rap and just this, kids are mean today.
Yeah, it's a huge popularity
They're
contest.
mean.
Oh, yeah, huge popularity contest. You know, kids want to be popular, you know, in any environment, any community, any social setting. You know, there's something people do that is popular, and when it becomes popular, other people want to do it. What we try to teach our children is to be leaders. You know, every day I ask both of my kids, are you a leader? Why? Because I believe in myself, right? Do you have integrity? Why? You know, I tell the truth and do the right thing when no one is looking. And so you have to instill those leadership characteristics, and you have to instill the essence of self-esteem, which is to believe in yourself and think for yourself. And so I think far too often we don't instill that in people. When we think about safety, the first thing we ask is who are your parents, what's going on, you know, and then be safe. But oftentimes, even in that, I tell my daughter and my son every single morning, be a leader today.
Yeah.
Don't follow behind people. You know, if there's something someone else is doing and you do it because you want to do it, then that's fine. But if there are things you see people doing and you know better, do better.
Well, trends, you know, are steering our young people in. I want to see, how do we make smart, intelligent, cool? How do you know? Because it's easy to make everything else look cool, tough, hard, and that seemed to be the way that a lot of kids, and then it comes with this aggression, it comes with anger. How do we instill, and I always say you can start from when they're young and teach them up. How do we instill, it's okay, how you doing, nice, speaking, engaging, respect? Because I always said, we cussed and everything else when we were young. When we was among, hey, you get us amongst you, we say everything under the sun. But it was when adults came by, you left it alone. It was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir. Then after they walked away, we went by. There was a respect for when people were in front of you. Now respect is kind of, it's like, I'm going to say it in front of you.
Yeah.
How do we change that with our young people? And I'm asking, because being smart means something. Having intelligence means something. It changes and gives you opportunity. College may not be for everybody, but to be a productive citizen in your community can mean a lot.
Yeah, you know, I think we've gotten away from the connectivity of the school, church, law enforcement, and all of those forces working together to create a better environment. Right now, we're all disconnected. You know, when we see students or children in our community being disrespectful, we blame their parents.
Mm-hmm.
But we forget, you know, years ago, parents were oftentimes in the church. And as a result of being in the church with members of the community who worked in various sectors of life, in law enforcement, teachers, the principal, everybody was there together.
It took a village to raise a child.
That's what I'm getting to.
That's
because ultimately, the more people who are speaking the same language to young people and not tolerating any level of disrespect from them creates an essence of being. So we have to be the example we want to see. But it's not just one person. The principal can't tell you to be respectful, but then you go home and your parent allows you to be disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Parents can't come to schools and be disrespectful to school leadership and then expect the school to tolerate their children being disrespectful. We all have to model the behavior we want to see as adults. And we don't have to be on the same page around what is important and what is the essence of good citizenship, as you just said. We don't have that. We lost that connectivity. So I think if we as adults start to think about how do we connect ourselves to each other around some very, very simple principles about citizenship, about being a good person, about believing in God, about trusting who you are because of where you come from. I think we can encourage and teach students how to be what we used to be growing up. But I think we've gotten away from that as a result of people chasing the popularity. I want to be the first one. I want to be the it pastor. I want to be the top law enforcement person. I want to be the most popular this or that. Instead of focusing on, I want to be what kids can aspire to be by teaching them how to be. And so I think we shift some things, we get there.
I think another thing kids have to understand, failure is coming.
Yep.
Failure builds character.
That's right.
Social media and everything that they see makes everything look like everything is always going to be good.
Yeah.
And when the first sign of failure, the way society now, they point the finger like, you failing, when they know they failing too. But it's like, you failing? Well, everybody else doing so good. It must be a problem with you. And I think at the same time, that helps center towards what we're dealing with now, what they say, the mental depression. It's a lot, but we used to didn't think it was a lot.
Right.
It was taught to you, you're going to fail. Tough times are going to come. Things are going to happen that, you just going to have to see through it. That's what my mom used to tell me all the time. Hey, figure it out. I grew up learning solutions. We didn't focus on the problem. She said, I'll listen to the problem the first time because that's the initial time, and I'll listen to it the second time because obviously you're trying to figure it out.
That's right.
After that, I don't want to hear the problem no more. I need to hear a solution towards the problem. Start giving me steps on how you're going to get past it, because we can't sit here and talk about the problem all day. That's how I was able to get past failure, but it was taught to me, hey, every bird that jump out the nest don't fly for the first time.
That's right.
No.
You're going to hit the ground and you're going to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to stop you. You're going to give up. You're just going to become prey to something, or you're going to figure it out. And so I try to teach that even with my kids. It's okay to have failure,
That's right.
but it's okay to learn from failure. Don't make the same mistakes over and over. Figure it out. Get yourself in a better position. And if it's something you don't know, ask me.
That's it.
Let me know. I can't read minds, but I also will, like you said before, I'm going to figure out how to talk to you. I'm going to figure out how to ask questions, because we got to engage our young people better.
Absolutely.
They are becoming, because of the phone, not so social. We got to pull them out the shells, and then we got to open them up to be social, because it's happening in the classroom. It's happening out there in the real world. And what are they going to do when it's time for them to get jobs and be what we talked about, productive citizens?
That's right.
That's it.
I appreciate you guys for coming in. Look, hey, man, I'm loving this, because I love to sit down and be able to have conversations with educators, because that is a world that is fascinating, because you are dealing with the youth, you are dealing with the future, and I think that's a beautiful thing, is shaping that.
Well, Perry, we're going to ask you to come into our schools and mentor and engage and inspire some kids by telling them what you do.
Please.
That is the reality of the system, that more people who are outside of the system need to be in the system sharing with our kids. So you're not a winner or a loser, young people. You're a chooser. Choose to win every day. Win the day.
And I accept, man, listen, I love young people, and you got to keep it real with this young generation. You can't sugarcoat. You got to tell them the real.
Sugarcoat anything.
You can't sugarcoat anything. So, anytime you need me, I promise you, I'll talk to as many kids as possible, because I have a journey as well, and I've been in their shoes. I understand, just like many others, what it's like to have failure, what it's like to come from nothing, but at the same time, what it's like to have something built inside of your character. And the main thing for me, fortunately for me, I had educators who saw that, what I talked about, that untapped potential, pulled me to the side and gave me some real words.
Absolutely. If it weren't for educators in this town like Alex Hayes, Bert Lewis, Baum, Michael Banks, Herman Bristol Sr., and the list goes on and on.
Yourself.
And on. All the people who poured into my life. But listen, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege to sit here and chat with you. And thank you for what you do in our community. I've been watching you for a while, so thank you so much for coming here to Baton Rouge and working in our community the way you do. So we appreciate everything you do as well, Brother White.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cassie, Lamont Cole. The Cole's in the house there.
Right here.
The Cole.
Right now.
Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We're going to get ready to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to have athletic director at Grambling State, Travian Scott, going to come in and talk to us about the Southern Grambling game and what's happening up at Grambling State. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back.
Baton Rouge.
Jaguar Journal.
Quarter, with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up. Kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up, kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown, makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score. And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
Passing leaders in the conference, Donald Hayes from Grambling, your top passer. Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff,
and the ball was dropped, and Tommy Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass. It's a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyan will finally drag him down. But we start the fourth right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, he's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1-yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of bounds at the 10-yard line. An I formation. Oh! Fumble Levy. He kicks it and falls on top of it.
Touchdown. Receiver that has not seen much action comes up big.
1st and 10. Washington over the middle, intercepted. Zone player of the game is Michael Hayes with 8 receptions, 266 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And that was
the last
no-brainer.
one was unbelievable.
In the back of y'all, me and Doug about to go party with the rest of the people. All right, I see y'all.
And another interception. And there's Pete Richardson right there. Made the adjustments a couple of weeks ago against Grambling to beat Doug Williams' team. Makes the adjustments time in and time out. And because of it,
That's
his
it.
Jaguars are the
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys with us. I am Perry White. Want to thank Lamont Cole and his wife, Cassie Cole. Lamont, of course, is the superintendent of the East Baton Rouge School District. Thank him for coming in along with his wife for having a conversation with us today about our young people, our community, and most importantly, education and what education looks like moving forward in the future and how do we evolve when it comes to education. And how do we teach young people moving forward? Because the world is changing very much so in front of us. And young people, the way that they're picking it up is changing very much in front of us. So thank them for coming in. Love to have that conversation again with them. And as we move forward, good morning to everybody listening on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge, capital city area. Glad to have you guys with us. Everybody watching across the country on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook. Be sure to go hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Costs nothing. Just free love and support. That don't cost you nothing but what I just said. And hit that like and subscribe, like and follow button on our Facebook page. Now, as we move forward, he's no stranger to the show. And I love anytime I have a conversation with him because he's going to keep it real and he is a realist. Dr. Travian Scott, Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics at Grambling State and a Southern alum. Good morning, Dr. Scott.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Hey, man, doing well. Look, with the T-minus, 6 hours? Pretty good weekend inside of the Minidome. So looking forward to it.
And that's one of the reasons having you on this morning. It is Alumni Night or Alumni Day for Southern University basketball. Both men and women will be taking on Grambling men and women basketball teams today. And listen, Grambling's basketball team has kind of had Southern's number here in the past, man. Looking at your coaches, talk about your women's coaching and your men's basketball coaching and what they've been able to accomplish up there at Grambling.
Well, I'll start with Courtney Simmons. Obviously, she's a native of Baton Rouge and an alum of the Southern University Laboratory School, and so I've got quite a few years of experience with her. She took over a program. I think we were 10 and 20. We were really struggling with our identity. We just weren't progressing, as a program. And she took over, gave us an instant boost of energy and accountability. And 24-9 in year one, and a win in the postseason in the women's NIT. And she's pretty much revitalized our program, and we're excited about what she's doing. She recruits well. She's very organized. She gets these ladies to play. Really excited about her style of play. Really excited about the way she makes adjustments. And really excited about what she's going to be able to do with our program moving forward. Dante Jackson, I've known for years. This is his now, I believe, 8th year here. His first year in the conference, of course, I was down in Baton Rouge, and he won the SWAC regular season. I don't think they were eligible for postseason play because of APR. He did well, for the next couple of years, kind of middle of the pack. And in 2021, when we got there, I think we were 4th or 5th. And I believe we may have lost to Southern in the first round, or we beat Southern in the first round. Well, in 2022, of course, we shared the SWAC regular season championship, lost in the championship game to Texas Southern in the tournament. Last year, we won it outright. Pretty historic run for us, and same thing for him. He's been around the league for a while. He's got a lot of chops in Division II. He cut his teeth at Central State. He's a Central State alum. He's coached at down in Tuscaloosa at Stillman College, and then came up to Grambling and has done a phenomenal job. Just won his 124th game, which is the most in Division I history at Grambling. And so, two very good coaches. They're blessed to have two great leaders of their caliber. Just, excited about, again, what they're going to do, today and what they're going to do in future years for the program. We've got both locked up for the next few years. So we're really excited, about keeping a consistency of winning. We talk about a sustainable culture of competitive excellence, and they've certainly been able to provide that on both sides of men and women's basketball throughout their teams at Grambling.
Let me ask you this, because you guys won the SWAC last year, and then for the first time in Grambling history, as you said, you guys won an NCAA tournament game. What was that impact to Grambling to be on the national stage, to win that game? For a lot of people out there who may not understand with that notoriety, with the G that we know, but to bring that along with national television audience, what was and the finance that come with it as well, what was that impact to Grambling's athletic and overall to the school behind that?
Well, I think, obviously, being at a school like Grambling with the brand imagery that it carries, the national notoriety is not anything new. But what I think is different about it is being able to enjoy that notoriety in the basketball space. In my recent memory, I hadn't been able to remember, in my generation, any real success in basketball. Now, there's been a lot of success in basketball, obviously, with Coach Hobby and the Aaron Jameses of the world and the Bob Hopkins of the world. A lot of the greats that, the Martin Lamel seniors, the basketball players that have really, played, historically at Grambling, but not too much in the last probably 20-some-odd years. And so, just in a time where, the university, much of the university athletics history has been tied to football, and then, in the last several years, maybe with the success of women's basketball in Chicago Hill with the triple doubles, well, men's basketball never really had that opportunity. And, to have the opportunity to, of course, win the regular season and then, win the tournament and actually go and win a game in the NCAA tournament. There are a lot of complaints about the first four, but I think the first four provides, a platform for us that, of course, we certainly was able to take advantage of to win the game. And then you take the momentum away from that. When the Vice President of the United States of America calls your cell phone, she called my cell phone. Now, I don't coach, and I don't play, and it was certainly an honor for me. Now, she wasn't calling for me, but it places you in a space, like you said, of notoriety. Obviously, the Vice President of the United States isn't just calling anybody, and then you take that momentum into playing really a very good Purdue team with Zach Edey, who is just a phenomenal basketball player and talent himself. And so, we lost to the national runners-up and an NBA lottery pick, and again, we had a great year last year. You said something about the financial piece of it. Of course, we benefited from that, with the unit in the NCAA and how that pays out. And, of course, with that notoriety, we were able to, of course, leverage that into recruiting and some other opportunities, whether that be individually for Coach Jackson or for the team or for the program or even for the school. I'd be honest and tell you there was inherent benefit all the way around. But it's a new day. That time has passed. We're getting ready to walk into a very hostile place, I know all too well, against a very good ball club, and we've got to play our best basketball. We expect to walk out victorious on both sides. So, that's my spiel on that.
God, dog, Travian, you up there at Grambling. I know you Southern at heart, and when I hear you talking about coming in here and walk out victorious, I'm just thinking you talking about the Jaguars, but the reality set in, you talking about them dang on Tigers, man. Just, God, dog, man. Okay, let's jump on it. Trey, I want to have a conversation with you, man, because as I talked with the Lamont Cole about the ever-changing world of education. There's an ever-changing world in athletics. And that ever-changing world is what we're dealing with today, the transfer portal, but more importantly, NIL. I want to ask you, because I had this conversation with somebody yesterday about a student athlete who was interested in a certain school, but wanted to know, what does NIL look like? But for me, talking to you as an AD, running a program at Grambling, what does NIL look like for Grambling currently in terms of how you guys go out? Because I know student athletes today, the moment you reach out to them, the moment you offer them, the moment you talk to them, I'm pretty sure one of the first conversations is not about the education, it's about the money.
You know what? That's the funny part. So what does NIL look like? I think, again, we're in a space where the landscape is changing. You went from the NIL piece to really a space where collectives being kind of took over, right? And so now with the House settlement, we seem to be, kind of in a space now in April where the House settlement is going to come in and basically render collectives as null, right? And so now you're going to have to, and I can tell you, we're going to bring the collective piece internal. And so next week I'm gonna put something out. We're gonna announce Tiger NIL. So I'll give you a little bit of insider information, and what that looks like is being able to provide basically a structured way of being able to either compensate or share revenue with our student athletes. And some of that revenue is of course going to be donated. Some of it is a part of a grander revenue generation plan that of course we're getting ready to roll out, with our annual fund, with our ticket policy and our Tiger Club, and with some of the things that we're doing to generate revenue. Some of it's going to be, again, raised. Some of it's going to be from revenue from tickets. Some of it may be even from the revenue distribution from the conference, and some of it will be specifically for Tiger NIL. And then being able to utilize the structure. Because again, and I don't know if you saw this period, but I think it might have been Thursday morning or Wednesday evening, the Office of Civil Rights released a memo regarding NIL and its impact with Title IX. And so if you remember, most NIL and most revenue shares for most of the modeling that we've seen thus far has only been for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball. We call them the core four. And what OCR is saying is that the laws, rules, regulations, and that you have to abide by relative to Title IX are still at play, even with NIL. And so every dollar that you spend on a football player, you're going to have to spend a proportional amount to a student athlete getting a similar opportunity in a Title IX sport. And so, even, 2 or 3 days ago, we're having to go back, pivot, readjust our planning, readjust the models, call our coaches back in, have the conversation so that they have the requisite understanding of things that are said across the board when we're recruiting these student athletes. And then understanding the legal aspect, there's definitely some legal liability when you're talking about, being able to distribute revenue and then being able to get something as simple as a written agreement. Where coaches now used to talk to the parents, and I used to call them kitchen table conversations when you're recruiting, and you're on the road and you're on the phone. And then, when I was in college, the coach came to my house and again, had a kitchen table conversation. And then, that turned into, talking to the quote-unquote handler with all of these AAU programs and things of that nature. Now, they're talking to agents. Right. And so, you see a lot of schools hiring general managers. You're seeing a lot of schools hiring, folks with contract negotiation experience, a lot of lawyers, a lot of former NFL front office employees. Again, when I was in school, you hired lawyers for compliance. Now you're hiring lawyers for contract negotiations for NIL. And so, we're entering a very uncomfortable space now. We're entering a space of more money changing hands. Now, I am a fan of monetizing. I'm a fan of NIL. I wish they had it when I was in school. I would have been less of a broke college student, but I do think that it's evolving so quickly, and we're having to make so many adjustments that there needs to be some additional conversation to kind of slow it down. We had the conversation at the convention this past week about or at the coaches convention this past week about the 10-day window for the transfer portal, right? What is that going to look like? You're having the conversations about the early signing period. Now you're having the conversations about student athletes being able to transfer to as many as 4 or 5 schools in 4 or 5 different years. Now we're talking about extending eligibility from 4 years to 5 years, and we're talking about the junior college student athlete and not counting the 2 years against them that they spend at the junior college. So it's so many, variables with NIL and how that looks. I'd like to see us get to a sustainable model. The reality of it is we're going to be changing for the next few years until we've got something that everybody can agree to. And if not, then the Power Four is certainly going to be at an advantage as they're already distributing as much as $22 million to their student athletes.
You got a second to hang on through a break?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. That is the voice of Dr. Travian Scott. Oh, man, great conversation today, and we're going to keep things going. So let's get ready to take a break, and we'll come back on the other side. We'll continue the conversation. You guys stay tuned. We'll be back more of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And, Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help, only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking at the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard. 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Very special guest here on the show this morning. Of course, I'm Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us, all our listeners across the Baton Rouge capital city area here on 107.3 FM. Glad to have you guys turn your radios up this morning as we have a good show going and everybody watching across the country on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page across the various groups. Of course, good brother on the show this morning, Dr. Travian Scott, Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics at Grambling State University, In other words, he's their athletic director, and glad to have him on the show this morning. Dr. Scott, what's up? As they say in Baton Rouge, what's ham?
What's ham? Glad to be here. Good morning, man.
Good morning, man. Glad to have you on here, man. You know, as we have conversations, we were talking about the NIL, the idea of the collective, talking about basketball because, of course, big basketball weekend here in Baton Rouge. And if you're out there and if you're listening, you hear my voice and you got a tank of gas, come on over to Baton Rouge to the F.G. Clark Activity Center, also affectionately known by those who went to Southern, the Mini Dome. Big game today, Southern and Grambling in-state. The Bayou Classic on the hardwood gets no better when you're talking about in the state with Southern and Grambling representing each other anytime they play. I don't care if we flipping quarters. I don't care if it's rock, paper, scissors, old school, take your shoes off and race in the middle of the street. It's competitive when you're talking about Southern and Grambling. Of course, Dr. Scott up there at Grambling, and he's going to have his team here ready to play today, both men and women basketball, and they have had some success over Southern here in the past. So coming down today is going to be tough, but it is Alumni Day, so every game I feel in my mind should be Alumni Day. You know, everybody as an alum should show up, but particularly today is special, right? It's for the alums that typically don't interact. And this is normally, if not the biggest attended game for Southern, especially when Grambling comes to town. So normally the audience is there, the crowd is there. Now what we got to get some energy in the building. But Dr. Scott, before as we move forward, I got about 6 more minutes with you. Mickey Joseph comes in year 1, takes over the program. You hire him in as your football coach, but I got to ask a question because the people want to know. We knew he moved forward differently with an offensive coordinator, Eric Dooley, former head coach here at Southern University, goes up, becomes the offensive coordinator there. Moved on from him. Any word, any announcement about a new offensive coordinator for Grambling State football?
Yeah, we'll have an announcement forthcoming. You know, we're looking forward to the spring, kind of moving past last year. I thought we had an opportunity to quite frankly finish a little better. I certainly didn't see a field 5-7. So you know, we've got an opportunity here to kind of right the ship. You know, it started 2 weeks ago on January 6th when we reported back, and Coach Joseph and his staff are doing a great job. Our young men reported last week as well. Had an opportunity to engage with them over the course of the last few days, and so definitely looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to getting better every day. But yeah, we'll have an announcement out, you know, pretty soon. Of course, not only with the composition of coaches, but our schedule, and again, you know, some of the things that we're going to do in the revenue generation space in terms of sharing revenue.
Looking forward to seeing that schedule as well. Of course, Southern dropped his home schedule this past week. I think they're still working on some things with some other games, but you were in. Well, I can't talk about that right now. I will. You know the schedule, and I kind of know it in terms of a game that's going to happen this year, and I think you were at the forefront of making that game happen. But moving forward, looking at Grambling athletics going into the future, with about 5 minutes here, man, just your overall mission and goal moving that athletic department forward and your vision.
Well, I mean, the vision is clear. Well, the goal is clear. Again, sustainable excellence, and you know, my vision is to offer first-class athletics programming across the landscape, and you know, not only to win at a high level, but to graduate student athletes, you know, at an 80 to 90% clip. And so, you know, for us, the way we get there is we be consistent in our goals, consistent in our values, consistent in our objectives, and following our mission, and understanding that culture is important. And you know, we talk all the time about culture, and I'm a big culture guy, but I think that, you know, primarily for us, the culture in our programs are different because, you know, obviously we're different sports and different genders. However, the overarching sentiment remains the same. You know, the expectations don't change, and we're big on, you know, holding our coaches and our student athletes accountable. I'll give you an example. Academically, if you're not sitting in the first 3 rows, we're going to have a problem, right? I'll just say that. And competitively, you know, we want to, you know, be able to do the little things, like the support. I'm big on that. You know, what are we doing in the weight room? What are we doing in the training room, right? What do we need, whether that's cutting-edge technology, you know, what are we doing on trips? Like, what makes a difference? Is it nutrition, right? become more equipped in providing those resources for our coaches to be successful. And then, listen, you hire good coaches who hire good assistants who, look, for the purposes of this conversation, I wouldn't say recruit kids anymore. It's almost like you're hiring new kids.
Got to buy them.
And so, you understand kind of the trickle-down effect of, and I sound a little like my boss here, but organizational effectiveness, right? It's a big thing, and it exists in our space of college athletics. Obviously, we're kind of different than some of the other areas on campus, but we're the same as it relates to trying to run a first-class and effective organization. So, just from that aspect, that's the thought, that's the goal. I don't walk into an arena or a stadium or a field thinking we're ever going to lose, and that's certainly a good feeling, excuse me. But just to have coaches and the leadership there to be able to push the goals forward, and student athletes who understand the mission and the goals, and that's where we are. So I'm excited about our leaders of our individual programs. I'm excited about the leadership that we have at the institution, and I'm excited about the leadership we have in the athletic department to kind of tie it all together.
Let me ask you this. Every time I see Southern and Grambling, I always wonder. I said, man, I want to do the Scott and Banks got a bet going. Y'all got anything going today?
Hey. No, not at all. And you know what? Look, Coach Banks and I, it's still weird for me to call him Roman, right? We talk a lot. Not as frequent, obviously, as when I was here, but we talk a lot. We text a lot. We communicate a lot. I have a very high level of respect and adoration, not just for Coach Banks, but for his family. I'm still a family member. Even on the days of games, just before and after. And so, no, we don't bet. We kind of watch, and the basketball coach in him, I could kind of look at him when he's watching a game, and even now, kind of know what he's thinking, and the same for me. So no bet. Of course, just wishing him well. He's wishing me well when we're not playing, and the way it's supposed to be. If you want me to be honest, is Southern and Grambling is supposed to be at the top anyway. So. That's what it is. We're going to battle it out today, and may the best two teams win.
May the best two teams win. I'm hoping it's Southern today, Dr. Scott. I know, vested interest on your end, but, it is the Jaguar Journal at the end of the day, and you understand that. But nonetheless, man, I appreciate you for coming on today, and anybody out there listening, that's the voice of Dr. Travian Scott, the Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics at Grambling State. Dr. Scott, man, appreciate you coming on, man. Look forward to seeing you today over at the Mini Dome.
Anytime. I'll see you soon.
All right, my man. All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break. Back on track. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. I'll talk about some SWAC basketball. Southern released its home schedule, and we'll break down some of that. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be back more at the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
And they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
He really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast, and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, you know, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, you know, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, you know, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us this morning, man. Great show as we rock and roll. I want to thank Dr. Travian Scott, athletic director up at Grambling. Of course, big weekend Southern and Grambling today up at the Mini Dome, FG Clark Activity Center. I invite the entire city of Baton Rouge and the entire surrounding area to come out today and watch some good basketball, both men and women basketball in a rivalry game, Hardwood, right? The Bayou Classic on the hardwood gets no better here in the state of Louisiana. Okay, let's look back at last week, right? Southern and Florida A&M took on each other, and let's start on the women's side because Southern got it done. 77-61, Southern University women's basketball team, Coach Carlos Funches, defeat Florida A&M in that ball game. The Southern women's team shot 28 of 60 for 46%, 6 of 16 from the three-point line, shooting 37%, and 15 of 20 from the free throw line, shooting 75%. And then on Thursday, as they move forward, Southern did not have a game. But looking back at other games on last Saturday, they shaped up things. Alabama State lost to Jackson State on the women's side, 74-44. Alabama A&M women with a 10-point victory over Alcorn State, 66-56. How about Bethune-Cookman going on the road up there at Grambling, getting the victory 70-52, and then Mississippi Valley. How about Valley? Women's team getting that victory over, you remember her name, Sandy Pugh, former Southern head women's basketball coach, now over at Prairie View. Valley gets the victory 69-52. And then on Thursday, Florida A&M gets the victory over Mississippi Valley on the women's side, 88-60. Prairie View, 10-point victory over Alcorn State, 62-52. Bethune-Cookman, 62-58 over Pine Bluff. And then what we believe, I don't know if it was an upset, but it caught a lot of people's attention. Texas Southern women getting a victory over Jackson State, 69-54 over Jackson State. Matchups around the SWAC today, aside from the Southern Grambling matchup. You're going to have Jackson State taking on Prairie View. Mississippi Valley State taking on Bethune-Cookman. How about the Alabamas? Alabama State versus Alabama A&M. I guess you can call that the Magic City Classic on the hardwood, just like the Bayou Classic on the hardwood. Then you got Alcorn State and Texas Southern and UAPB taking on Florida A&M on the road, all on the women's side. And let's look at the women's standing starting from the bottom. Currently, the Golden Lions, UAPB women's basketball, 0-4 in conference play. They are at the bottom of the standings. Right above them, Mississippi Valley's in there at 1-4 in conference play. Alcorn State at 1-3. Then you got a couple teams all lined up with just two wins. Prairie View 2-3. Alabama State 2-2. Bethune-Cookman 2-2. Florida A&M and Grambling along all together 2-2 in conference play. And then we look at the upside of everything on the women's side in the SWAC standings. Southern University, Alabama A&M, and Jackson State all 3-1 and at the top of the standings. I just told you about them. Texas Southern women's basketball team, who currently have victories over Jackson State and Southern, two teams right one game out of first place behind them on that side of things. And then now let's go back to last week as now we switch and transition to men's basketball. Southern had Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. Southern took on Florida A&M on last Saturday, getting the victory, 91-57, and I'm talking about a blowout. Shooting 33 of 62 in this ball game for 53%, 10 of 22 from the three-point line, shooting 45%, and 15 of 23 from the free throw line, shooting 65%. Southern gets the victory, 91-57. And on Monday, finally got it done after going 0-3 against Reggie Theus and Bethune-Cookman last week. The Jaguars get it done at home, 69-53 over Bethune-Cookman. And that Bethune-Cookman team is no slouch. I'm here to tell you, they are a good ball club, but that Southern team, and I'll talk about what I like about Coach Johnson and that roster. Southern in this game against Bethune-Cookman shooting 26 of 67 for 38%, 4 of 17 from the three-point line, shooting 23%, and 13 of 22 from the free throw line, shooting 59%. What I really want to see this team get better at is free throw shooting. Honestly, I'm sitting there watching these guys. They have to get better at the free throw line. But right now, what I do like, the way Coach Johnson is managing the roster, keeping fresh legs in. This team has depth. This team really does have depth, and you're starting to see it in ball games as they wear teams down. All right, let's look around the SWAC at other games on last Saturday. Of course, I mentioned Southern beat Florida A&M 91-57. Bethune-Cookman went on the road up in North Louisiana to take on Grambling 65-59. The Wildcats get the victory over the Tigers. Jackson State 7-point victory at home over Alabama State 77-70. Alcorn State defends home court over Alabama A&M 62-52, and then Prairie View gets the victory on Saturday 74-65 over Mississippi Valley State. And then on Monday had plenty of games around the conference to go with. Prairie View 75, the Golden Lions of UAPB 64, Texas Southern 82, Mississippi Valley 53. Alcorn rolled on 67-65 over the Hornets of Alabama State. Jackson State in 3 overtimes. Man, what a thriller. In Jackson, Mississippi over Alabama A&M 103-93. Broke the scoreboard to keep that game going in 3 overtimes. And then Grambling getting this victory over Florida A&M 79-72. All right, let's look at the SWAC standings right now. Start from the bottom and work our way to the top. Mississippi Valley 0-4 at the bottom. Then you have 2 teams tied at 0-3. Florida A&M Rattlers and the Golden Lions of Pine Bluff. Both those teams winless along with Mississippi Valley in SWAC conference play. Grambling State, who will be coming in here today, 1-3 on the men's side, 3 games out of first place. 2 teams tied at 2-2, and they'll take on each other today, the Alabamas. Alabama A&M and Alabama State, both 2-2 in conference play. Alcorn State tied along with Texas Southern and Bethune-Cookman, all at 2-1. Bethune-Cookman, Texas Southern, and Alcorn. And then right there, Jackson State 3-0, Southern 4-0, and Mississippi Valley 1 game out of both those spots at 3-1. Should be interesting. Let's look at some matchups right around the conference today as we're talking about on the men's side. Let's see what's interesting, right? Because that's what we always looking at, the interesting matchups. Jackson State and Prairie View, might be interesting. What you think? The Bama State schools, that should be always interesting when you get those schools going together. I don't think anything could be interesting about this Bethune-Cookman, Mississippi Valley, Florida Pine Bluff, Florida A&M and Pine Bluff. Somebody got to get a victory. Texas Southern Alcorn. I don't know. No, it's at Texas Southern. That's a tough place to get a victory. Nobody just walks into Texas Southern and get a victory. What Southern did, huh? I guess. But Alcorn ain't Southern. All right, let's look at on Monday games around the conference. Alcorn State taking on Prairie View. Mississippi Valley State taking on Florida A&M. UAPB taking on Bethune-Cookman. And Jackson State taking on Texas Southern, all on the road. And you know what? I forgot a game that we're going to talk about here on Thursday night. Southern University women's basketball on Thursday did not have a game, but there were games played. Florida A&M 88-60 over Mississippi Valley. Prairie View 10-point victory. Texas Southern got Jackson State, and Bethune-Cookman 62-58 over Pine Bluff. Now, what I'm about to say moving forward is the lack of enthusiasm I have been seeing at Southern University home basketball games, both at the Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman game. I don't want that oozing over into today's ball game, ladies and gentlemen. If you out there listening, if you've not been to a game or if you've been to the game, You're going to have to find a way to bring some energy into that dome. Energy. Man, when I say you guys just sit there, you're quiet. Now, there are some people in there that I have to give credit to. I don't know you personally, but I see you when I'm down there yelling and cheering. And I'm typically right there next to the visiting bench. Let me tell you something. Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman team don't like me. I can tell you that right now. They don't like me. They don't know me, but they for sure don't like me. Because I made sure I made my presence felt in the dome for those 2 games, man. Home opener conference play for our teams. Gonna need it today from you guys, though. You got to get loud. You got to make noise. When visiting teams are shooting free throws, the only people out here are the cheerleaders stumping around talking about miss it. What are we doing? Right? When the team has big plays, what are we doing? And I'm so serious. Most of all, we got to get you in the dome. The attendance the past 2 games, I'll be honest with you, was not good. This Southern men's basketball team is really good. I think it is something that you guys should come out. Coach Johnson has put together a good product. I like it. And the way he works that roster and continues to rotate it, I like it. Coach Funches doesn't have a bad product either. Obviously, that loss on the road at Texas Southern, you see it a lot different as Texas Southern is at the top of the food chain in the SWAC right now. Southern men and women traditionally have had good basketball programs that need our support. We keep talking about what we want in terms of these players and everything, but you got to understand you have to show up to the game to make the players say that is a place I want to go play besides the money. And Coach Funches told you what we're doing, cost of attendance. Come on, people. I'm not pleading with you. I'm telling you. There ain't no time to plead with you. We're too far in the game. Too much skiing in right now. You got to show up and you got to make your presence felt. Is my man Coach Johnson saying, Coach Carlos Funches, give the refs hell. Y'all too fancy. Y'all too boo. I don't know what we have become as a fan base when it just comes to cheering on our teams, because this is over in football too. Y'all almost make it seem like it's something wrong to get up and cheer and to be loud and be. Everybody just want to sit back and beat somebody. Administrators, I'm talking to you too. Get loud. I don't care who you are. If you in there with your in a seat, cheer on the team. You ain't there. Nobody cares about your title today. We only care about the coach title. Who's the coach? Because somebody got to take the blame in the loss, and somebody got to take all the cheers and the joys and the win. But you guys, fans, administrators, and everybody else, we got to do better. And I'm here to call you out and tell you, you got to do better. Because I'm watching and I'm seeing it. I don't like it. Who are we? We'll see what the student body does today. I'm curious about them too. Because I'll talk about the student body if they don't get it together. Just sitting there, watching, looking. You got to do better than that, man, because I ain't feeling it. Y'all don't understand. I go to games outside of the Southern games. I'm a true fan when it comes to sport. I stand up. I'm loud. I'm boisterous. I yell at officials because I'm yelling at y'all now. I yell at players, coaches. I yell at everybody. My presence is felt. I'm a true fan. And I will stand up, cheer, yell. But y'all better get it together. Get it together. All right, let's get ready to take a break. Come back on the other side. We'll continue the conversation more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again, throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's a free play.
Oh,
and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down and 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet. And Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. Glad to have you guys listening with us. Everybody on 107.3 on the radio here in the Baton Rouge capital city area. Glad to have you guys. Turn your radio up just a little bit louder. Be sure to tune in to us every Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. First time listener, just hearing my voice. Man, hey, don't let it be the last time. Continue to rock with us. And I know a lot of people out there do listen to radio. Man, look, love y'all out there because you could be doing anything else on a Saturday morning like being asleep. But you're up with us here at the Jaguar Journal and everybody across the country, of course, as we continue to evolve this thing on our YouTube and on our Facebook who are watching live. We're also on, Apple Music. We're on Apple and as well as on Spotify. So, you know, we're growing this thing as a radio show as well as a podcast along with the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you not have done so already and follow and like on our Facebook page. Look, we are trying, not even trying, we are a show for Southern, the SWAC and everything else. Now, I'm not here to be politically correct because if you know Perry White long enough, I'm not politically correct. I'm real. I'm honest. Backlash sometimes comes with my opinion because at the end of the day, it is my opinion. But that's what comes with it when you say it publicly, aloud for everybody to hear it, and not in the barbershop, not on the phone, not amongst the group. I'm saying it as loud as I can to people out there that listen. But I'm not here for attention, so I'm not spewing any and everything just to get you guys to listen or to just put something out there. And anybody that knows me know I want the best for Southern. I'm not here to beat down Southern. I'm not here just to praise Southern. I'm here to talk about it, whatever the situation may be. And I tell people, and, you know, when I talk about certain things, a lot of the times, as the old folks say, I want you to hear from the horse's mouth. So I don't report on a lot of things that you may hear and see out there until I'm able to confirm it personally, talking to those people, or I'm able to get them here on this show personally. And a lot of times I want them to get it here on the show because I'm not one for somebody to go back and say what Perry said. I stand by the things that I say here on the show because a lot of times it's how I feel along with the facts of a game. Win and losses there's nothing I can do about that. You lose, you lose, you win, you win. The stats are the stats. I talk about that. But when it's things deeper than that, I try to make sure that we get it factual here. I want to make sure that you hear from the people on campus, from the people from the conference, from the people who you need to hear from instead of saying Perry said. I'm not one for those to say Perry said. unless it's something I can back up that's my thoughts. But if it's something you speculate about somebody or a situation or information, hey, I'll get them on you. If you ask me that you want to know about it, I'll make sure I write that down and say, okay, let's make sure we make that a point of emphasis. We need to get that person on here to talk about it because clearly people are asking about it. I'm not just going to go in here and talk about it. I'll go directly to the source. And talking about directly to the source, Southern University announced its home schedule. Now, I think there's still some discrepancies with the overall schedule. You pretty much know what the overall schedule looking at this is if you can piece it together. You know who you playing in the SWAC West, and you know, of course, we're playing in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, the first game of the season against North Carolina Central. That's no secret. But the home schedule is released. All right, let's go through it and get your season tickets, ladies and gentlemen. September the 6th, the Jaguars will have Alabama State. Now, I don't know if the discrepancies, there's another home game that could be added or what, but this looked like this may be the Pete Richardson Classic on September the 6th. Don't hold me to it, but we'll just, as the first home game, that's typically what they have said. And I believe with this being Alabama State, I don't think this will be a conference game. I think this is going to be a non-conference game because, well, it may be a conference game. We got Florida A&M. We got Jackson State. This may be a conference game. Excuse me. Don't pay me no attention. Let me stick to the script. Alabama State, September the 6th is going to be right now currently the first home game. September the 27th is going to be Jackson State. So you're going to have some tough, both teams from the East early on in September at home nonetheless. October the 18th is going to be homecoming against Prairie View. If we can match what we did last year to this year, my God. October the 25th is going to be Florida A&M. And then November the 15th is going to be Texas Southern. So right now you have Alabama State, September the 6th. Jackson State at home, September the 27th. October the 18th is going to be homecoming against Prairie View. Florida A&M on October the 25th. And the Tigers of Texas Southern on November the 15th. That right now is your home schedule. You like bands? That's it. We got bands. All of those should be band games for my band heads, except maybe Florida A&M. That's iffy. For my football people, that Alabama State, Jackson State early on, that's going to be good at home. That's for my football people include. You know, I like football and band, so I'm there for the whole experience. And then you start the season off with North Carolina Central on national television in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Mike, how many more minutes I got? 2.5 minutes. Good schedule next year at home. What y'all gonna do? I just talked about what y'all doing at basketball, and if that's any indication, I know everybody don't like basketball, but I've been seeing what y'all doing at football too. Y'all bougie at football games too. Low energy, low vibration. Talking about, boy, y'all ain't on it. Only that section typically right there next to the band. Only that section right there next to the band. And the student section to get turned if the DJ get involved. The DJ got to get involved for them, though. But the rest of y'all, I don't know what y'all on, bruh. That's just, now y'all here just real. I don't know what y'all on, bruh. Y'all don't be fans. Y'all just be there to be seen. I don't know what y'all be doing. I mean, honestly, I be into the games. I'm loud. I'm voice. I mean, everybody ain't got to be me, but you are at a basketball game. You're not at a graduation. You're not sitting there waiting on somebody's name to be called. Like, God, dog. When you hear them saying defense, can you not yell defense? I'm beating y'all up, huh? Here I am. But y'all need it. I ain't finna let y'all slide because the man at the basketball game saying defense. He the only one besides me and maybe 4 or 5 other people. The rest of y'all just sitting there looking like you don't understand English. How do you make that a hostile environment? Even in football. Y'all losing y'all way. Y'all ain't what you used to be. You ain't what you used to be. And I like what we used to be in terms of fans and engaging and being who we were. Making it hostile places. So when you said Southern, that's a tough place for anybody to have to go. I got stories. Trust me. Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman got stories about Perry White. I can tell you that personally. That's a rough day because I ain't going to let them slide. I'm in there. I'm loud. Going to let them know. I'm like at the church. Will there be one? Will there be another who wants to join me in my quest of making Southern a damn hard place to play again? Will there be one? Because it ain't so hard to play here. The team going to make it hard, but we don't make it hard as fans. We just there. Hey, how y'all doing? Do you know who I am? Okay. All right. God, dog. But I love y'all. It don't matter. Hey, man, everybody out there listening on 107.3 FM, good morning. I'm about to get ready to wrap this thing up and get the day started. Southern women's basketball tip-off at 2:30. The men tip-off at 5 o'clock. So if you're not doing anything here in Baton Rouge today, Alumni Day. Get over there to the F.G. Clark Activity Center on the campus of Southern University. Be loud, be heard, and as my man Coach Funches and Coach Johnson say, give the refs hell, okay? Everybody watching on our YouTube channel, good morning to you. Thank you for all that you do and tuning in with us. If you're watching live or if you go back and you watch after the fact, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And everybody watching across the various social media groups, Facebook and everything else, hit that like and follow. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. All just type in the Jaguar Journal. On X and Instagram, we are the Jaguar Journal _ and on Facebook, just simply type in Jaguar Journal. You can follow our link tree and all social media outlets and the descriptions to see all of our platforms. Hey, follow everything that you see the Jaguar Journal and you see my face. Shout out to my man Mike behind the scenes making it happen. Want to thank Lamont and Cassie Cole coming in. Lamont Cole, the superintendent over the East Baton Rouge school system. My man Dr. Travian Scott coming on this morning and talking to us, who is the athletic director at Grambling. Man, appreciate you guys. I love you. Mike, keep up the good work. Everybody else out there, hope you have a good weekend. Stay safe as we're going to have snow on Tuesday. School systems are closed. Most of everything is going to be closed. So that give you a chance to go back and listen to some episodes of the Jaguar Journal when you're bored. So, hey, man, if the Lord says the same, I'll be back at the same time, the same place next week. Hey, as always, it's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good weekend, everybody. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.